guys, it's Rach. So today I wanted to share some tips with you on how I pick the right foundation color shade for me, and hopefully that will help you guys, particularly if you're new to wearing foundation or you're new to makeup and you don't know how to pick the right color for you. Because when I go into a store and see foundation and you see sometimes there may only be 5 choices, sometimes there may be 20 choices, but either way it can be really hard to tell based on just looking at a bottle what color would suit your skin tone, and it is the absolute worst when you pick the wrong one. I recently have had some bad experiences with poor color matches, and that's kind of what prompted me to do this video, because I've also had some really positive ones. So I'm taking my positive experiences and my tips and going to share them with you guys, and then if you have some tips on how to pick the right foundation color, things that have worked for you, I would love it if you would share them in the comments below with me so I can see them, but also so everybody else can see, and hopefully it will help them choose the right foundation. So my first tip is to do your research. So before you go to pick a foundation, whether it be high-end or whether it be drugstore, go online, check the website and see what colors are available. It will give you a general idea at least of the shade names, the shades that fit under the light category, the shades that fit under the medium category, the shades that fit under the dark category. And just from looking at that, you should be able to get a general idea of where you may sit, at least in that light, medium, dark spectrum. I generally sit either in light or light medium, so I know when I go online and have a look, I have a look and see exactly what the website says, and I will have a general idea of when I go to actually purchase 2 to 3 colors that I think may work for me, so then I can go look at those ones specifically and that will be what I swatch. My second tip is, if you can, get color matched properly, and I have some tips that flow onto that. But if you are going to buy a high-end foundation, take the time to actually sit down with one of the people working at the counter and have them color match you properly, because you are going to be spending probably a fair amount of money, particularly here in Australia, so you want to get your money's worth. Now, I've had both good and bad experiences being color matched at a counter in a department store. So some of the things that I've learned from that is that at the very minimum, the makeup artist should try 2 foundations on you. That's at the very minimum. I think that it should be at least 3, because even if the first foundation that they put on you looks okay, then they should try on a second one that's in a close color range, just to see if the base is right, to see if it needs to be a little bit darker, to see if it needs to be a little bit lighter. So if they try on one foundation on you and it's the first one, then I'm always a little bit suspicious of that. Most people will usually sit in between 1 or 2 shades, particularly if the shade range isn't that large. Even if there's only a few shades, then you are likely to sit in between 1 or 2. So at the very minimum, they should try on a couple of shades on you. The second part of that is that they should remove your makeup before they do this. If they don't, then they're matching it to the foundation that you're wearing, not your actual skin tone, which can mean that the color match will be off. So they don't take your makeup off you, then they're probably rushing, and again, I'd be a little suspicious about the color match. That's not to say that it may not end up being the right color, but you are going to get the best match if you don't have any makeup on and you're clean and fresh faced. And that flows on to if you're matching yourself in a drugstore, if there's just some testers, make sure that you don't have any makeup on. Either use a tissue or just go in not wearing any makeup if you know that you're going to buy a foundation. That way, when you match them, you will be able to see your true skin color. My third tip is matching the color to your jaw and your neck. Now, when I first heard to match the colour on the jaw, I actually would put the colour down here, which was kind of wrong of me, because even though this is your jaw, when you're looking straight ahead, this actually creates a shadow, particularly when you're in a shopping centre or a department store and they have the really bad fluorescent lighting, you'll get a shadow there. So what I do is I put the colour swatches here, I'll blend it in, and that way when I'm looking straight on, I can see what the colour looks like, both matching my skin above and matching my neck below. Now, everybody's skin is going to be different, their face and their neck will be different, and when picking the colour, I also put a little bit on my neck as well, just so I can see how it's going to blend down on my neck. Now, you don't want to match the colour to your neck and then have your face be too light, or you don't want to match the colour to your face and have it be too dark on your neck. So I like to just blend it down and see. Now, even if there is a shade difference, if the colour foundation is right for you, then it should just be able to blend out into your neck. If you get a line here wherever you stop, then it's probably too dark for you. And the last thing that you want to do is be blending the foundation all the way down to where your your shirt is. Like, I'm not blending my foundation all the way down to here. That's just too much work for me. So if it will fade out into your neck and still looks nice on your face and doesn't look like a mask, then that's probably going to be the right color for you. Yeah, I also like to suggest swatching the colors next to each other so you can actually see what they look like. If you put just one color on and then wipe it off and then put another color on, you're not going to be able to see which one is right if they're similar. So I put them next to each other. I usually have 3 little swatches here so I can see the color and I can see what it looks like on my neck, and then usually you should be able to tell from there which color is the right one for you. My 4th tip is about lighting. Now, like I already mentioned, lighting in shopping centers is really bad, and the way that a foundation will look in the shopping center may be completely different as how it will look when you're at home or when you're in natural daylight. So if you want to be really particular about this, and if you're spending a lot of money, like if you're in Australia and you're spending $90 on a foundation, then this is a step that I wouldn't skip. And what I actually do is leave the store. So I have the colors swatched on, I have a mirror with me, and I will go outside and actually have a look and see what the foundation looks like in daylight or in a different light. I know that seems a little bit extreme, but for that much money, you want to be able to see what the color looks like in different lighting to make sure that the lighting that you're in isn't skewing the color and the way that you see it. You'll be happier in the long run because when you go outside, you're not going to look like a clown. My 5th tip is a little bit more tricky, and it's know your undertone. So most people are either pink undertone, or they have neutral undertones, or they have yellow undertones. Now, one way to tell what undertone you have is to actually look at the veins in your skin. If you have yellow undertones, the veins are likely to look a little bit green in color because blue and yellow makes green. If you have pink undertones, the veins in your skin are likely to look slightly more blue-purple because the pink and the blue makes that purple-blue color. Now, I don't think this is foolproof. That's just that's something that I've actually read about, and I kind of looked at it and it did kind of work for me. However, I don't think it's foolproof and it is kind of hard to tell, but that is one way that you can find out what undertone you have. Another way is to ask a makeup artist, because they're usually trained in being able to pick people's undertones, and they work with a lot of different skin tones, so they will generally have a better idea. It's not always, again, foolproof, but you can ask somebody and they may have a better idea. The third way, and the way that I kind of worked out what undertones I had, was from looking at the foundations that I already owned and that had already been color matched to. If you actually go onto makeup company websites and read the list of foundations, they will often actually describe the foundation, and they may say light pink toned or light yellow toned or light neutral toned, and then they'll go light medium or medium yellow toned or medium neutral toned and things like that. So for example, the Illamasqua skin based foundation, when I was looking up that, on the website it went through in that exact fashion. Now I wear color 3.5, which I believe either said light pink undertone or light medium pink undertone. I can't quite remember, but again, I knew that I was a pink undertone because this color matches me and it's described as a pink undertone. However, it may be just a little bit of trial and error. If you buy a foundation and you put it on and your face looks really unnaturally pink, then you're probably a yellow undertone, or vice versa. And my 6th and final tip, which kind of brings us back around to that first tip about research, is to use a website called Findation.com. Now this is basically a foundation color database where you put in some foundations that you know already match your skin tone, and then it will tell you what color to look at in a different brand or a different foundation, and give you a color matching. So for example, if I know that I match this particular foundation, I would pick Illamasqua, then I would pick skin based foundation, and then I would put in 3.5. And then I also know that I match Revlon Colorstay Oily Combination in 180 Sand Beige. So you need to have at least 2 matches, but you can actually put a few more in to make it a little bit more accurate. Click search and it will spit out all the different colors that I should try in different brands and different foundation types. It has both high-end and drugstore, which I think is great. And while it's not necessarily foolproof, I have found that quite a few of my matches that it said on there have worked for me. So at least it brings you back into that research thing. If you see that, okay, that foundation should match me, when you go and try it, you have an idea of what foundation that you should look at and which one you should try on you. So I hope that was helpful for you, and that maybe you have a better idea of how to pick the right color foundation for you. If you pick the wrong one, don't fret. I think everybody's done it. Like I said at the start, please share your tips with choosing the right foundation color in the bottom bar below. I would love to hear them. And if you've got any horror stories, I would love to hear those too. And if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. It really does help. I hope you guys are well, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!